Hey everybody. So I've been feeling a lot of different energies the past week. Um, One thing I wanted to speak on today is something that I know that in our culture in general that we struggle with, which is judgment. And I like to think that me, as I've evolved on my spiritual journey, have come out of those like belief systems where we use judgment and gossip and, speaking critically of one another, or even judgment doesn't even have to be criticism. It's not letting something be what it is and accepting and loving it for what it is, whether you're judging yourself or another. So for me, you know, I like to think I've come a long way. Like I don't engage in like gossiping behaviors with other women. I don't feel like that is like a form of socializing, like talking about different people. That's something that is of my past, and I know it's easy, especially I want to say women, but men and women. We in our culture, we think it's acceptable to get into, meet up for coffee or meet at each other's house or be wherever and have conversations with each other. And we said it's acceptable to speak about other people, and it's not. And it's not just that. I actually saw one of my mentors last week, and he was speaking about, he used an example of like seeing somebody who is really overweight in the checkout line and they have like 2 gallons of ice cream, and like feeling that judgment towards them. And I was just like, yeah, like I don't feel judgment in that kind of situation. So I'm sitting here in my mind picking apart, okay, where do I feel like I'm judgmental towards others? Like what situations am I judgmental? Because I want to evolve. I want to see where I can be better. I want to be the best version of myself. So I'm thinking, so this happened last week. I met up with my mentor, and what happened is I started evaluating myself in a way, just observing, like being that observer. And so I'm thinking about scenarios. So yesterday, for example, there's my boyfriend, he works at a school, and it's lower income, so a lot of his students are pretty poor, and like he knows about their situations in some cases. And we drove past this like old motel, and he's like some of my students live there. And you know how you feel in those situations, like, oh, that breaks my heart. Like they're living out of this crummy ass motel because they're poor and they can't afford anything better than that. And your heart opens up for them. You feel love and empathy towards them. You have this understanding, like, like of gratitude. Like, wow, like I have all of these things and there's some people who don't. And in situations like that, it's easy for me not to judge another. I also, experience poverty as a child. So I do understand what it feels like as well. So I guess it would be easier for me in that situation, to feel empathetic. So those situations are easy. Or if somebody, like I even said for his example, like it's easy for me not to judge like somebody who's overweight. Like I don't ever feel like I want to be like, ooh, like they're fat or anything. I never feel that. I feel like that person is struggling with something internally, and their way of dealing with it is through eating. And I honestly lucked out because I can relate to that, except I lucked out. I have a fast metabolism, but I'm the type of person who binge eats whenever I feel stressed out or like, I'm going through something. A lot of times, like, you'll just see me go to the grocery store and get a ton of snacks and go to town on them, and I was just lucky enough that I have a fast metabolism. So, like, I can understand from that point of view, like, why a person, like, you just have to put yourself in another's shoes. It's about, that's what, judgment is like catching yourself, seeing somebody in a certain way, and then putting yourself in their shoes. Why do they do these things? Why, blah, blah, blah. And there is no right or wrong. That person who is doing whatever behavior you're judging. There's nothing wrong with what they're doing. That's just where they are in on their path, and we're just observers. And it doesn't matter what it is or who it is. Like, we're here to, you know, shine our light and spread that love and light and have an open heart. So this is the situation where I'm trying to work on judging others, is these types of situations. And you can tell by the way I'm about to explain it that I'm still working on it because of the way I'm about to explain it. But this is just, okay. So where I have a hard time with judging people, it came up last night when I went to dinner with my boyfriend. So we're sitting at the restaurant, and behind me is a group of couples in their 30s, so our age, and they have their babies with them, and they met up to have dinner. Now, you can tell that they have money, okay? And so I'm sitting there, and I'm looking at their little Michael Kors diaper bags and Louis Vuitton diaper bags and all this kind of stuff, and I'm listening to what they're talking about, and they're, like, gossiping about other people. And in that moment, it's very difficult for me not to judge people who, and I'm judging them right now just by saying this, but the reason I feel that way is because I know what it's like to have nothing, and I know, like, I feel like it's wasteful. I feel like it's like so many other things you could spend your money on. Like, they're the same type of people that, like, don't feel bad for people who are struggling and have no desire to help, and they'd rather spend their money on a fancy car. Like, those are the type of people I have a hard time with, and I have a hard time in this situation. And the reason that came up was another opportunity, like, it was a test for me, another opportunity to choose a different perspective, to have an open heart and show those people love and light instead of judging them. And, you know, when I lived in California with my ex-husband, like, I encountered that a lot over there. I'll just say that. In a lot of different social situations I was put in, I encountered that a lot, and it would just eat away at me, and I would just have to sit there and stuff my foot in my mouth and not say anything and just sit there and judge. And it wasn't right for me to do that, because everybody can live whatever way they want to live, and I should love them anyways, right? I should look at them the same way I look at the person who's living out of a hotel and struggling. I should send them the same amount of love. And to me, it's like, to the ego, it wants to categorize, like, who should I love most first? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it wants to justify things. It wants to make you feel right about something. And when there is no right or wrong, everybody's experience is true from their perspective. So for me, it was a test, and I failed miserably. Yesterday at dinner, I failed miserably, and I was just, like, looking at my boyfriend like, babe, I'm trying so hard not to judge these people sitting there and to, like, want to send them love, but it was like I couldn't, in that moment, I couldn't get past it. So it's okay, because this test will come up again for me, and I'm going to be allotted another opportunity not to judge people. And I'm going to be allotted that opportunity to look at them and have the same amount of love that I have for those poor people living out of a rickety old motel as I do for the people who choose to live their lives in a certain way and handle their money a certain way. And it's like, for me, when I think of coming into a lot of money, I think of, how can I help people? How can I still live my simple life? Because, like, when you grow up and you don't have a lot, you realize that, whoa, like, some of your happiest moments, you had almost nothing. And you know that happiness isn't based on monetary things and materialism. And, like, minimalism and simplicity, like, happiness is there. So, like, I feel like it's difficult for me not to judge that, the opposite of minimalism, like selfishness, and, like, not other people who aren't empathetic towards others. Like, it's difficult in those situations not to judge that person too. And I think this is such an important message for everybody, because everybody is allowed to live their life whatever way they want to live it. And it doesn't matter who it is or what they do with their money or how they choose to live their life. Us as light workers, our job is to spread love and light, regardless of anyone's choices or decisions. And because of our cultural conditioning and our belief systems and the way that we've been raised in whatever environment or situation, everybody is going to live their life as a different truth. Now, most people that are like that, it's because they were raised. Their parents were like that, and their parents were like that. And we have to put ourselves in the shoes of others that are choosing to live their life in whatever way. We have to get to a point in our spiritual journey where we look at people like the asshole president, who I'm judging right now. See, that's me figuring out that I need to work on that. Who set the freaking Amazon on fire, like not long after they had a lawsuit that said that saved millions of acres of the Amazon. Like, and there's leaked documents that was the case, and everybody's playing the blame game, and that's not going to like change anything. The only thing that we can really do in that situation is meditate, send love, do whatever there are things that we can do. But my point is the judgment. We have to get to a point where we don't even judge that man. We don't judge that president or whoever was involved in these fires. Whoever has all this malicious intent on, Gaia and Earth and people and all the humans that live here and want to have power and money. Like, we have to get to the point where we're not judging those people. What we're feeling as much love and empathy towards those people because they are also experiencing some internal struggles. And we have to get to that point where we're not judging them either. We're just observers. We're just sending love and light. We're sending as much love and empathy to them as we are to the animals that are burning in the Amazon. Wrap your freaking head around it, because that's where we got to be. That's where we have to take our level of not judging ourselves when things come up and like, oh my gosh, like I'm feeling super angry today, or I'm feeling depressed today. Does that mean like I'm not at this high vibration, I'm not like moving forward? Stop judging. Just be an observer. It's okay. Let everything come up. Everything comes up so it can be felt and released. Judgment is such a crucial part of the spiritual journey, and understanding, like, if you can master that, oh my gosh, you're so like, you're in there like swimwear, girl or guy, whoever is watching this. If you can squash the judgment, you are well on your path, especially the judgment towards yourself. How you perceive yourself is how you're going to perceive others. So maybe the reason I judge people who spend their money in a certain way that I disagree with is because I have an abundance block. It's because I don't want to live my life in the same way they do, so I'm judging them. That's where all this duality comes from to begin with. All this, like, wanting to be a part of this political party, or having prejudice against a certain race, or like whatever. All this shit, all this duality and shit and judgment that is like dividing our nation, dividing our world and planet. All it is a bunch of judgment. Judgment is like the biggest issue. It's the biggest challenge in your spiritual journey, I think. That's my personal opinion and perspective. It's a huge challenge. And if you can catch yourself and just try it for one day, to just not criticize or be judgmental of anything. Not yourself, not another person, not a situation. Just let it be what it is and be the observer. Challenge yourself. I'm challenging myself. I go through this just as much as you guys go. This is a whole spiritual journey that everybody is experiencing. Unless you go and you're like a monk and you go hide up in the mountains and avoid life, like, it's impossible not to experience it, not to experiencing these feelings. So next time I encounter that kind of situation like I experienced at the restaurant last night, I'm going to give it another go. I'm going to try to release that judgment, and I'm going to try to open up my heart and send love. It wasn't that my heart was closed. It was just that because I was sitting in front of my boyfriend, my twin, like he's, you know, we had an amazing day. We were riding on the ferry. We got lunch earlier that day. We were walking around. It was like perfect cloudy, breezy day, perfect temperature, like had a great day. So by no means did this like encounter at dinner ruin my day or like lower my vibration, but maybe it did a little during the times that I was judging, but it wasn't like a day crusher or anything. But it allowed me to have another opportunity to realize it was happening. I realized it was happening the whole time. I told him, I was like, I'm judging. Help me stop judging. And then but when I was, the things I would say to him, then he would like feel the same way because we're similar. Like our values are the same. So the way a lot of times the things that we have trouble judging are similar things. So like when I was saying something initially, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm judging them. But he was agreeing with me because he sees things in a similar way that I do. But I told him, I was like, next time, I was like, mark my words, I'm going to react to this situation differently. And because I don't want to like dislike anyone or judge anyone, I want to send them love. I want to look at them and just want to hug them and just want to like send them so much light and happiness. So yeah, challenge yourself. I'm challenging myself. And I also have, stay tuned because the next video that I'll make tomorrow probably is about my second past life regression that I just did last week. And this one I did not do on YouTube. So I actually went and had my mentor do it, and he's an amazing healer, energy worker. He's just amazing. I'll talk about it in my past life regression video that I do next. But I love you guys, and challenge yourself. Try to stop judging. It's not going to happen completely. And not until, I mean, it's a gradual growth process. We're never going to be perfect. And that's okay. We're not here to be perfect. But I love you guys. You can follow me on Instagram or Facebook. Just look up Kelsey Franks and all my services. And if you'd like to make a donation, that's all on my website, www.kelseyfranks.com. Hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day.